We've now fully covered the construction of an action figure like this one using just thread, and in the video just before this one we saw what are the possibilities that can be explored when you are making a fantasy character of your own imagination with this technique. Now in this video I'll quickly cover some of the pros and cons of this threading technique which we have covered today, and what makes cotton thread overall a suitable material of construction. Now, I think that if you are looking for a new type of art and crafts hobby to explore and would like to get into fictional character design, this is a really good area to start with. I myself started making action figures as a kid, and I've tried many styles of many materials of doing so in the past. I've tried sticky tape, paper, plastic, metal wires, wood, and over the course of building probably hundreds of figures in the past, I then stumbled upon using cotton thread for rigid structures and came up with this kind of repeatable method for construction, which we have covered in our course today. I think thread overall is a very forgiving material to make these small sculptures with. As you could probably notice, the construction of the overall design is very simple. It doesn't require any kind of complicated tools or equipment. The material itself, the cotton thread, is very easy to find. You can find it at your local stationery stores or your nearby tailors or anything like that. And the thread itself is very versatile. There are many ways of improvising if you feel like you're going wrong somewhere, unlike, let's say, stone carving or wood carving, where you have to correct by maybe building it from scratch. Plus, it's not a stationary sculpture either. It's very flexible and movable, right? Which is why right from the beginning I preferred to call these things as action figures and not sculptures. Moreover, the overall action figure is durable. The dragon which we saw in the previous video, I think I had made that about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's still strong today. But at the same time, it's also very safe to build and very safe for even small children to play with. It has almost no hazardous material, and there is no risk of physical injury in either building them or playing with them. And if the sculpture does get damaged, it is infinitely repairable because you can just replace the old thread and add another layer on top of it. Now, in terms of the limitations that of the technique that we've covered in the previous 10 videos, this technique, as you can see, is good for making these kind of cylindrical structures like limbs, fingers, but it's not good for making flat structures. Like if you wanted to make, let's say, a wing or a cape or a plate, it's not suitable for that because you would have to have those threads hanging unless you can combine them with something like crochet. Also, it's not very convenient for making round spherical objects because the thread might end up unraveling very easily. I would also not recommend it for making structures which are expected to be absolutely solid, like for example weapons or armor. Since the thread, it will never give you the feel of something perfectly solid. It is always going to give you a feel of something that's fleshy, or it's strong, but it's still relatively bendable and muscular. But at the same time, this technique is very easy to combine with any other material like cotton or cardboard, or even, as I mentioned, crochet, to expand the possibility of the kind of characters that you can build with this technique. Case in point is this. The swords that you can see on this particular swordsman action figure, if you look closely, these are actually made by cutting an ice cream cone, an ice cream stick in half, and then sticking a piece of paper on top of that to give it a more blade-like feel. As you can see, there's a thick bit to the left and there's this very thin razor-like bit on the right. Therefore, by itself, this technique can only give you the basis to create a basic sculpture, but it leaves plenty of scope for you to improvise and make your own character, combine it with other techniques that you are good at the moment. And I think that's exactly the sort of room that you need that creative room that you need to be able to walk your own artistic journey with this technique and make up your own action figures on your way forward.